Far beyond the quiet stars of the Milky Way, an alien listening post floated in the dark cold of space. The small station belonged to the Zarkon Empire, a powerful alien race that ruled many worlds. For years, the Zarkon had watched the galaxy, carefully. They looked for signs of new threats or unknown ships entering their space. Their sensors were the best in this part of the universe. Nothing could hide from them. One day, something strange happened. The alien sensors picked up a signal. It was not like the usual signals from known ships or planets. This one was different. It was a low, steady beep, repeating again and again. The signal came from the edge of Zarkon space, near a small star, system no one cared much about before. The scientists on the station stared at their screens. They had never seen a signal like this before. Captain Ral, the leader of the listening post, was a tall alien with sharp eyes and many years of experience. He walked over to the control room. "What is that noise?" he asked his technician. The technician shook his head. "We don't know, Captain. It's repeating, but it is not a language we can understand. It is strange, almost like a warning." The station's crew grew nervous. The Zarkon Empire was strong, but they had faced enemies before. Still, this signal made them uneasy. For the first time in many years, they felt a chill in their bones. Captain Ral ordered the station to send the signal to the High Command, the leaders of the Zarkon Empire. The message was clear. Something unknown was approaching. Far away in the council chambers of the Zarkon Empire, leaders gathered around, a large glowing table. The signal played on speakers, its strange beeping filling the room. The council was silent. None of them could explain what the signal meant. Some said it could be a trap. Others said it might be a call for help. The council decided to send a fleet to investigate. The best ships of the Empire prepared for war. Their crews were ready to fight or die if necessary. The Zarkon were not afraid to show their power, but this mission was different. No one had ever faced a threat like this before. At the same time, on the other side of the galaxy, humans on Earth were watching the stars too. But they were not scared. Instead, they were preparing something special. Hidden deep in space was a huge human warship. It was the largest ship ever built by humanity, and it was unlike anything aliens had seen. The warship was quiet and powerful. It moved slowly through space, its surface smooth and dark like a shadow. Inside, thousands of humans worked quietly. They wore simple uniforms and moved with purpose. They knew the time was coming to show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of. Back near the Zarkon border, the alien fleet moved closer to the source of the signal. Their ships were large and armed with many weapons. They expected to find a small human craft or maybe a trap. But what they saw shocked them. Out of the darkness, a massive ship appeared. It was the human warship. It was bigger than any alien ship they had ever seen. Its shape was strange and new. No flags or markings showed which Earth colony it belonged to. It was like a ghost in space. The alien ship stopped and watched. Captain Ral's voice came over the radio. "Identify yourselves," he ordered. But the human ship stayed silent. It did not answer. It did not move. The silence made the aliens more nervous. They sent more messages, but there was no reply. The warship just waited. Its dark hull seemed to absorb the stars around it. The alien fleet decided to approach. Suddenly, the warship opened its massive doors on the side. Bright lights shone out, but not at the aliens. Instead, strange beams of energy shot into space. The alien ships raised their shields quickly. The beams did not hit any ships, but the aliens knew this was a warning. Captain Ral spoke again, his voice tense. "This is your last chance. Explain yourselves or prepare to be attacked." The human ship remained still. The tension grew. The alien crews whispered in fear. Some said this was madness. Others said the humans had weapons far worse than theirs. The warship did not attack, but it did not back down. Then, a new sound came from the human ship. It was low and deep. The aliens heard it through their sensors. It was a strange, mechanical noise. It sounded like something alive and machine mixed. Together, the aliens had no idea what it was. The human warship began to move slowly. It did not run away. It did not rush forward. It just drifted like a shadow, waiting for something. Back on the Zarkon station, scientists studied the strange noise. They tried to copy it, but they could not. It was not just a machine sound. It was a message, but no one could understand the language. The aliens realized this warship was a mystery. Suddenly, the warship sent out a burst of energy. The energy wave passed over the alien ships but did not harm them. Instead, it scanned their systems. The aliens felt exposed and vulnerable. They did not know what the humans were looking for. Captain Ral ordered the fleet to hold position. "We will not attack first," he said, "but we will not run either." The human ship stopped sending energy waves and went silent again. The only sound was the slow, steady beep of the signal the aliens had first detected. For hours, both sides waited in silence. The stars around them seemed to hold their breath. Then, without warning, the human warship vanished. It disappeared from all sensors. In a flash of light, the aliens scrambled to find it, but it was gone. The silence returned, heavier than before. The alien fleet was confused and afraid. They did not understand what they had just seen. Captain Ral sent a message back to the Zarkon High Command. "The human warship is not like any ship we know. It is powerful and strange. We must prepare for what comes next." Far away on Earth, the leaders watched the same scene through their own sensors. They smiled quietly. Their plan was working perfectly. The humans had sent a warning. The galaxy would soon learn the terrifying truth about what was inside their warship, and no one would forget it. The Zarkon Empire was shaken by the sudden disappearance of the human warship. Captain Ral and his crew had never faced anything like it before. No ship could vanish from sensors so quickly and cleanly. The silence that followed left the alien commanders restless and uncertain. What was this human ship hiding? What made it so different and dangerous? The High Command ordered a special team to investigate. A group of elite alien scouts was chosen to board the human warship. They were the best warriors and spies, trained for secret missions behind enemy lines. Their task was clear: find out what was inside the warship and bring back any useful information. If the humans planned to attack, the Zarkon wanted to be ready. The scout team traveled in a small stealth ship. It was fast and silent, designed to avoid detection. The ship moved slowly toward the last known location of the human warship. The scouts were tense but focused. They knew this mission could be dangerous. Some of them whispered stories about humans being monsters, half machine, half human creatures inside their warships, but no one knew for sure. When the scouts arrived, the human warship was still there, hidden in a shadowy corner of space. It looked bigger and more terrifying than before. The dark metal surface seemed to swallow the faint light of nearby stars. The scout's ship moved closer, carefully avoiding the powerful sensors of the warship. Suddenly, the warship's massive doors opened silently. No alarms sounded, no weapons fired. The scout saw a glowing ramp lowering slowly. It was an invitation, or maybe a trap. The team leader, Commander Vex, made a quick decision. "Prepare to board." "Stay alert," he ordered. The scouts entered the human warship, one by one. Inside, the ship was darker than they expected. The walls were smooth and cold, made of a strange metal that shimmered under the dim lights. The air smelled different, clean, but sharp, like a new machine. As they moved deeper into the corridors, the scouts felt something strange. The ship was too quiet. No sounds of humans working, No engines humming loudly, just silence. It was not empty, but it did not feel alive either. Commander Vex signaled the team to stop. Ahead, they saw a door with strange symbols glowing faintly. The symbols looked like a mix of human writing and something unknown. Next to the door was a warning light flashing red. The scouts exchanged worried looks. This must be an important place. Open it carefully, Vex whispered. A scout used a small tool to hack the door's lock. With a soft hiss, the door slid. Open. Inside the room, the scouts found a sight that stopped them cold. Rows of glass tubes lined the walls. Inside each tube was a figure, part human, part machine. Their skin was pale, almost translucent. Mechanical parts and wires were connected to their bodies. The figures did not move, but their chests rose and fell slowly, showing signs of life. The scouts were horrified. They had heard rumors about human experiments, but seeing it was different. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were hybrids, human bodies fused with machines designed for war. The room pulsed with strange energy, and soft lights blinked on the machines inside the tubes. Commander Vex stepped back and signaled to leave the room. "We must tell the High Command," he said. But before they could turn, a low sound filled the corridor. It was a mechanical growl mixed with a human moan. The scouts froze. From the shadows, a figure stepped out. It was one of the hybrids, but different from those in the tubes. It moved slowly, its eyes glowing red. Its body was strong and covered in armor plates. It looked both alive and machine. The scouts raised their weapons, but the hybrid did not attack. Instead, it spoke in a deep, distorted voice. "Why are you here?" Commander Vex answered carefully. "We come to learn. We want peace, but will fight if we must." The hybrid's eyes narrowed. "Peace! Humans have no peace. Only war." Suddenly, more hybrids appeared from the dark corners of the ship. They surrounded the scouts silently, their weapons ready. The scouts realized they were trapped. The warship was not just a ship. It was a fortress filled with living weapons. The humans had built these hybrids to protect their secrets and fight without mercy. Commander Vex called for retreat, but the path was blocked. The hybrids advanced slowly, forcing the scouts to fight for their lives. The corridors echoed with the sounds of battle. Blaster fire, mechanical limbs moving, and the cries of the injured. Despite their training, the scouts were overwhelmed. The hybrids were faster and stronger than anything the Zarkon had faced before. One by one, the scouts fell or fled deeper into the ship. Commander Vex managed to send a message back to the Zarkon fleet. "The ship is alive with hybrids. We are trapped. Prepare for battle." The message ended abruptly as the connection cut off. The warship's systems had blocked the signal. Outside, the Zarkon fleet sensed the sudden disturbance. Their weapons locked onto the human warship, but the ship remained calm, as if it was watching and waiting. Inside the ship, the surviving scouts hid in a dark corner. Their weapons were low on power, and their spirits were broken. The hybrids watched them like hunters stalking prey. Commander Vex whispered, "We must find a way out. We must warn the Empire. The truth about this ship is worse than we thought." The scouts nodded, but fear was in their eyes. They had entered the heart of a terrifying secret, and now they were part of the story. Far away on Earth, the human commanders watched their screens. They knew the aliens had found their ship. They smiled quietly. The time was coming when the galaxy would see what humanity really was: powerful, dangerous, and unstoppable. The warship waited silently in the dark, its secrets hidden deep inside. The terrifying truth was only beginning to unfold. The alien scouts were trapped deep inside the human warship. The hybrid warriors surrounded them, watching every movement. Fear gripped the Zarkon scouts, but Commander Vex knew they had to keep calm. If they panicked, they would die. The ship's corridors were strange and cold. The walls hummed with power, and soft red lights blinked in the distance. The scouts moved carefully, trying to find a way out. But the ship seemed endless, a maze of steel and shadows. Suddenly, the ship shook. An alarm sounded, low and warning. The hybrids grew tense, their eyes glowing brighter. Commander Vex guessed something important was happening. The scouts pressed forward and came to another heavy door. This one was larger and marked with strange symbols, more complex than before. The door looked old, but it held strong. The hybrids stopped here, waiting silently. One of the scouts tried to open the door. It took time, but with careful work, the lock clicked open. The door slid back with a hiss, revealing a large chamber inside. The scouts entered slowly, eyes wide. The room was unlike anything they had seen. It was large and round, filled with strange machines and glowing panels. In the center stood a huge device that pulsed with energy, casting eerie shadows. But what shocked them most was what lay beyond the machines, a group of figures lying still on tables. They looked human, but their bodies were covered in wires and metal plates. Their faces were peaceful, but their eyes were closed. Commander Vex stepped closer. "What is this place?" he whispered. One of the hybrids moved forward. "This is the heart of the ship," it said in a voice rough but clear. "The place where humans and machines become one." The scouts looked at each other, unsure. The hybrids explained that these were not just soldiers, they were experiments. Humans had merged with machines to create a new kind of warrior. They were stronger, faster, and could survive in space without help. The room pulsed with a quiet energy. The machines hummed, feeding power into the bodies on the tables. Suddenly, one of the figures moved slightly. Its eyes opened, glowing faintly, blue. The scout stepped back, surprised and frightened. The figure sat up slowly. It was a human, but different. Its skin looked pale and cold. Its voice was soft, but mechanical. "I am one of many," it said, "created to protect this ship and to fight for humanity's survival." The scouts wanted to ask questions, but the chamber door slammed shut behind them. The hybrids closed. "In! Their weapons ready!" Commander Vex realized this was no ordinary ship. It was a living weapon, made from humans who had given up their freedom to become something new. Suddenly, the power in the room surged. The machines hummed louder, and the figures on the tables began to move. More eyes opened, glowing with light. The hybrids prepared for battle again. "You should leave," the lead hybrid said. "This place is not for enemies." But the scouts had no choice. They were trapped. The chamber became a battlefield, and the scouts fought desperately to survive. The human-machine warriors moved with speed and precision, forcing the aliens back. Amid the chaos, Commander Vex saw a control panel. It was complex but looked important. He rushed to it and pressed buttons randomly, hoping to find a way out. Suddenly, a hidden door opened on the side of the chamber. It led to a narrow corridor, dimly lit but free of hybrids. "Follow me!" Vex shouted. The surviving scouts ran through the corridor, leaving the chamber behind. They moved quickly but carefully. The warship was alive and dangerous. They could feel its power in the walls around them. Finally, the scouts reached a small room with communication equipment. Vex tried to send a message to the Zarkon fleet, but the ship's systems blocked it again. "We must find the main control room," Vex said. "There we might find answers or a way to stop this ship." The scouts nodded, tired but determined. They knew they had uncovered a terrible secret, a secret that could change the fate of the galaxy. Outside, the human warship waited silently. Its power was hidden deep inside, and its mission was only just beginning. as the alien scouts moved. Deeper into the warship, the ship itself seemed to watch them. Every step echoed through empty halls filled with strange machines and blinking lights. Commander Vex and his team knew they were close to something important, something that explained why this ship was so terrifying. Meanwhile, far from the battlefield, on Earth, a group of human leaders gathered in a secret room. Their faces were calm but serious. They spoke quietly about the warship and its true purpose. This was no ordinary ship. It was the result of years of secret experiments and hard choices. Back on the ship, the scouts found the main control room. It was vast, filled with consoles and glowing screens showing maps of stars and ships. The walls displayed images of humans and machines combined, photos and videos from long ago. Suddenly, the room came alive with a voice. It was calm, cold, and mechanical. "Welcome, visitors. You are seeing the truth about humanity's warship." The scouts turned to see a large screen flicker on. A human face appeared, but it was different, part machine with glowing eyes and a steady robotic voice. "This ship is powered by more than engines and weapons," the face explained. "Inside, humans have merged with machines to create hybrids. We are stronger, faster, and ready for war. This is the future of humanity." The scouts listened in shock. The screen showed images of the hybrids, humans connected to machines. Their bodies changed to survive in space and fight endless battles. The human commander on the screen continued, "We built this ship to protect Earth and to defend our place in the galaxy. Many feared us. They called us monsters. But we are survivors. We are the last hope of humanity." Commander Vex felt a cold fear. These humans had sacrificed everything to become warriors. They were no longer like the aliens or even normal humans. They were something new, something dangerous. Suddenly, the control room shook. Alarms blared loudly. The warship's defenses activated. The hybrids began to move through the halls again, ready to fight. The scouts knew they had little time. They had seen the terrifying truth. The human warship was not just a ship. It was a living army, built from humans who gave up their freedom to become weapons. As they prepared to leave the control room, the human commander's voice echoed one last time. "We will not stop. We will fight until the galaxy knows our power. You have been warned." The scouts ran down the corridors, chased by the waking hybrids. The truth was out, but the battle had only just begun. Outside, the warship moved silently through space, ready to face whatever came next. The alien scouts were running through the dark corridors of the human warship. Behind them, the hybrids, half-human, half-machine warriors, were closing in fast. Their heavy footsteps echoed like thunder, and their glowing eyes pierced the shadows. The scouts knew they had little time to escape. If the hybrids caught them, it would be the end. Commander Vex led the way, his heart pounding. He looked for any sign of an exit or a secret path. The ship was a maze, built to confuse and trap enemies. Every turn looked the same. Cold metal, walls, blinking lights, and silent machines. Suddenly, one of the scouts spotted a panel on the wall. It was small and hidden behind a pipe. Vex rushed over and pressed a few buttons. The panel slid open, revealing a narrow tunnel. "This way!" he shouted. The scouts squeezed into the tunnel, their weapons ready. The hybrids followed, but the tunnel was too tight for all of them. The scouts hoped the narrow space would slow their pursuers. The tunnel led to a small room filled with strange devices. In the center was a console glowing with green light. Vex hurried to it and began pressing buttons. He tried to send a message to the Zarkon fleet. "We are trapped. The hybrids are hunting us. Prepare to attack." He typed quickly, but the ship's systems blocked the message. The screen flashed red. The humans had designed this warship to control every signal. The scouts were cut off from help. Vex clenched his fists. They had to find another way out. One scout spotted a map on the console. It showed the ship's layout, hangars, engine rooms, and a small escape bay at the rear. "There," she said, pointing. "An escape pod." The team moved quickly. The hybrids were still chasing them, breaking through doors and using weapons that burned like fire. The scouts fired back, but their weapons were weak against the hybrids' armor. As they neared the escape bay, alarms screamed louder. The ship's self-defense systems activated, firing lasers and missiles at the intruders. The scouts dodged and ran faster. At the escape bay, they found a small pod. It was old and scratched, but still looked functional. Vex helped the scouts climb inside. He closed the hatch and started the countdown. Outside, the hybrids reached the bay. They pounded on the doors with metal fists. But it was too late. The pod shot out into space, moving away from the warship. Inside, the scouts gasped for breath, their bodies shaking from the chase. Vex looked back through the small window. The human warship loomed large, its dark hull shining under distant stars. It did not follow. The scouts knew they were lucky to escape. But the truth was clear. The warship was a fortress filled with deadly secrets. The hybrids were only the beginning. Vex sent one last message from the pod. "The human warship is alive. It carries a new kind of enemy. Prepare for war." The key message was weak, but it reached the Zarkon fleet. The alien commanders read it and shuddered. The humans had shown their true power, and the galaxy would never be the same. Back on Earth, deep inside a secure command center, the human leaders watched the events unfold. The large screens showed the message from Commander Vex's scouts, the warning about the warship, the hybrids, and the danger they carried. The room was quiet, but tension filled the air. Every leader knew this was the moment they had prepared for. General Maris stood at the front, calm but firm. "The time has come," she said. "We must act now. The galaxy has feared humanity for years, but they have never seen our full strength." The human warship, named Sentinel, was no ordinary ship. It was Earth's greatest weapon, designed to protect humanity's future in a hostile galaxy. Its secret power was hidden deep inside, the hybrids and advanced machines that made it unstoppable. For decades, the world had kept this secret, fearing it would start a war no one could win. Now, with the Zarkon Empire and others watching and preparing to attack, Earth's leaders knew they had to show their true power. The Sentinel was ready. Its crew of human soldiers and hybrids waited silently inside, their eyes set on the stars. A voice echoed through the command center. It was Captain Ryan, the leader of the Sentinel. "Our mission is clear," he said. "We will defend Earth and teach the galaxy a lesson they will never forget." On the warship, systems hummed to life. Weapons loaded, shields strengthened, and engines powered up. The hybrids, resting in their tubes, began to awaken. Their eyes glowed bright blue as they prepared for battle. They were ready to fight, not just for survival, but for humanity's place among the stars. Back in space, the Zarkon fleet prepared for war. Their ships gathered near Mars, watching and waiting for the human warship to make its move. They had lost scouts inside the Sentinel, and their fear had grown. Suddenly, the Sentinel made its move. With a flash of light, it jumped into hyperspace, leaving the alien fleet behind. Its mission was clear: to defend Earth and show the galaxy the terrifying truth about human power. The leaders on Earth watched the stars, knowing the battle ahead would change everything. The Sentinel was no longer just a ship, it was a symbol of humanity's strength and a warning to all who dared threaten their home. The Zarkon Empire's warships formed a massive fleet near the edge of human space. Their commanders had received the warning from the scouts and knew the human warship Sentinel was on the move. The fleet was ready, armed with the deadliest weapons and the bravest crews. They would stop the humans here before Earth could be threatened. Admiral Kor stood on the bridge of the largest Zarkon ship, his eyes fixed on the dark spot where the Sentinel had disappeared into hyperspace. They think they can challenge us, he said coldly. We will show them the true power of the Zarkon. The alien fleet moved swiftly, spreading out in battle formation. Their weapons glowed, and their shields shimmered under the distant stars. Every pilot and soldier prepared for the fight that would decide the future of the galaxy. Suddenly, the Sentinel appeared. It came out of hyperspace like a shadow, silent but deadly. Its dark hull reflected no light, and no weapons fired immediately. The humans did not rush to attack. Instead, they waited. The alien fleet tensed. What was the human warship planning? Why did it come so calmly, without fear? Then, without warning, the Sentinel unleashed its weapon. A huge beam of energy shot out from the ship, slicing through the vacuum of space like lightning. It struck the lead Zarkon ship directly. The impact was devastating. The alien ship exploded in a fiery blast that lit up the dark space. The shockwave knocked nearby ships off course, causing chaos in the fleet. Admiral Kor shouted orders to regroup and counterattack. The Zarkon ships fired back, sending streams of laser bolts and missiles toward the Sentinel. But the human warship was fast and powerful. It dodged attacks with ease and struck back with deadly precision. The battle raged through space. Alien ships fell one after another, destroyed by the human warship's advanced weapons. The Zarkon pilots had never faced anything like this. Their old tactics failed against the strange power of the Sentinel. In the command center of the Sentinel, Captain Ryan watched the battle with calm eyes. "Keep the pressure," he said to his crew. "They do not know what we are capable of." The hybrids inside the ship moved into position, ready to defend against any attempt to board. The warship was not just a weapon, it was a fortress. The fight continued. The Zarkon fleet began to realize something terrifying. The humans had technology and weapons far beyond anything they imagined. The Sentinel was more than just a ship. It was the future of war. The alien commanders faced a choice: retreat and live to fight another day, or risk total destruction by continuing the battle. Admiral Kor's face was hard. "We will not run," he said, "but we must be smart. Prepare the next attack carefully." The war in space was far from over. The galaxy watched as the humans showed their true power, strong, silent, and unstoppable. The battle in space grew fiercer as the human Warship Sentinel continued to strike with deadly accuracy. Its weapons were unlike anything the Zarkon fleet had seen before. Each blast tore through alien ships, leaving destruction in its path. The humans' power was overwhelming. Captain Ryan stood in the warship's command center, watching the screens. Carefully. "Fire the main cannon," he ordered calmly. A massive energy beam gathered in the heart of the ship, glowing brighter and brighter. The hum of power filled the room as the weapon charged. Outside, the beam shot forward like a spear of light, cutting through the enemy fleet. Ships exploded instantly, their metal hulls torn apart. The aliens could only watch in horror as their strongest vessels were destroyed within moments. But the weapon did not last long. Its energy ran low after the blast. The Sentinel's crew worked quickly to recharge it, but Captain Ryan knew they needed a backup plan. Deep inside the ship, another secret stirred. The hybrids in their tubes began to awaken again. Their eyes glowed bright blue as they prepared for action. These living weapons were the ship's second line of defense, silent killers ready to protect their home. The aliens tried to press their attack, but the hybrids moved swiftly. They launched from hidden doors and corridors, attacking boarding parties with ruthless speed. The Zarkon soldiers were unprepared for this new threat. Captain Ryan smiled quietly. The weapon was powerful, but the hybrids were the real secret. The aliens had only seen the surface of human strength. As the battle dragged on, the Sentinel's energy began to run dangerously low. The main cannon could not fire again without a full recharge, and the ship's shields weakened. In the command center, tension grew. The crew worked faster, trying to keep the ship alive. Then an alert flashed on the screen. A new system was activating. A strange hum filled the ship. Lights flickered, and machines began to move. Captain Ryan turned to his officers. "Prepare for the next phase," he said. "This ship still has power they cannot imagine." Outside, the aliens watched nervously. They had destroyed many ships, but the human warship was still standing. They did not know what else it could do. As the battle raged around the human warship Sentinel, inside its dark corridors, something stirred. The hybrids, part human, part machine, awoke fully from their slumber. Their eyes glowed bright blue, shining like stars in the dim light. They were the living heart of the ship's defense, silent and deadly. The ship's alarms echoed through the halls as the hybrids moved swiftly to their positions. Their bodies were strong and fast, covered in metal armor fused with flesh. They carried advanced weapons made by humans, designed to destroy any enemy who dared to board the ship. Outside, the Zarkon fleet launched a daring attack. Alien boarding parties blasted through the ship's outer defenses, hoping to capture the Sentinel or destroy its core. But they did not expect what awaited them inside. As soon as the aliens set foot on the corridors, the hybrids struck. They moved like shadows, silent and precise. The hybrids were faster and stronger than any alien soldier. Their metal limbs smashed through doors, their weapons fired with deadly accuracy. The corridors filled with the sounds of battle, blaster fire, clashing metal, and the grunts of warriors fighting for their lives. The aliens tried to hold their ground, but the hybrids overwhelmed them. One by one, the boarding parties were pushed back or destroyed. Commander Vex, the alien scout leader who had barely escaped earlier, watched the fight from a hidden chamber. He felt a cold fear in his heart. The hybrids were more than machines. They were warriors with a will of their own. The hybrids moved toward the ship's core, protecting it at all costs. Their mission was clear: defend the Sentinel until the last breath. Outside, the Sentinel's weapons continued to fire, keeping the alien fleet at bay. Inside, the hybrid army fought without mercy. Captain Ryan watched the battle unfold on his screens. "They don't understand what they face," he said quietly. "This ship is alive because of them. They are humanity's future." As the fighting grew more intense, the hybrids closed in on the alien commander's location. The last stand was near. The Sentinel was not just a ship. It was a war machine fueled by living warriors, and it would stop at nothing to protect humanity. The warship Sentinel shook as the battle reached its peak. Inside, the hybrids fought fiercely against the alien boarding parties that had pushed deep into the ship. The corridors echoed with the sounds of combat, metal clashing, blaster fire, and the heavy breaths of exhausted warriors. Every step was a fight for survival. Commander Vex led the remaining Zarkon forces, determined to break through the hybrids and reach the heart of the ship. His soldiers were tired and wounded, but they refused to give up. The fate of the entire fleet depended on their success. Meanwhile, Captain Ryan stood firm in the command center, watching the battle unfold on his screens. "Hold the line," he ordered. "This ship is our last hope. We fight for Earth and humanity's future." The hybrids moved like shadows, cutting down enemies with brutal precision. Their metal limbs tore through armor, their enhanced strength overwhelming even the strongest alien soldiers. They fought without fear or hesitation, driven by a will beyond understanding. The aliens pushed forward, desperation growing with every lost comrade. They launched every weapon they had, firing missiles and energy blasts that rocked the ship. The Sentinel shook, but held strong. Suddenly, an alarm blared, a critical breach in the engine room. The aliens had broken through the final defenses and were flooding the ship's core. If they destroyed the engines, the warship would become useless. Captain Ryan's face tightened. "We cannot lose the engine room! Send reinforcements!" The hybrids surged forward, meeting the aliens in a fierce final battle. The narrow corridors became a deadly maze of violence. The sound of fighting was deafening. Commander Vex realized they had one chance left. He gathered his soldiers for a desperate charge. For the fleet! For the Empire! The aliens charged, but the hybrids were ready. The final clash shook the ship to its core. Metal smashed against metal and the air filled with smoke and sparks. In the chaos, the Sentinel began a countdown. Its self-destruct system was activating. The humans knew they could not let the ship fall into enemy hands. Captain Ryan gave the order to evacuate. "Get to the escape pods, now!" The aliens and humans scrambled through the ship, racing against time. Explosions shook the walls as the Sentinel prepared to blow. Commander Vex reached an escape pod with the last of his scouts. They launched just as the ship's core erupted in a massive explosion. Fire and debris scattered across space. The warship Sentinel was gone, but the battle was not over. The escape pods drifted silently in the cold darkness of space. Commander Vex and his surviving scouts watched from their small window as the once mighty Sentinel exploded in a brilliant fireball. The shockwave rippled through the stars, marking the end of the terrifying warship's reign. The loss of the Sentinel was a heavy blow to both humans and aliens. The Zarkon Empire mourned their fallen comrades and worried about what the future might bring. The humans, too, felt the weight of the battle. Though the warship was gone, its secrets and power had left a mark on the galaxy. On Earth, leaders met again in secret chambers. General Maris spoke quietly but firmly. The Sentinel was only the beginning. Humanity will not stop. We will build stronger ships and warriors. The galaxy must understand that Earth will defend itself, no matter the cost. Commander Vex and his scouts were rescued by a nearby Zarkon ship. They carried the scars of battle, but also the knowledge of what they had seen. The truth about humanity's warship and its hybrids was no longer a secret. The galaxy had been warned. Back. On the alien homeworld, the news spread quickly. Some feared that this war was just the start of something larger and more dangerous. Others prepared their weapons, knowing that when humanity struck next, they must be ready. In the silent depths of space, new ships were built. New weapons were forged. Both humans and aliens prepared for the next battle, one that could decide the fate of countless worlds. The war was not over. It had only just begun. Years passed, but the memory of the Sentinel never faded. Across the galaxy, whispers of the human warship still haunted the minds of soldiers, leaders, and civilians alike. Some believed it had been destroyed forever. Others claimed that a ship like the Sentinel could never truly die. Commander Vex had risen in rank within the Zarkon Empire, yet the shadow of that battle still followed him. He often woke in the middle of the night, hearing the echo of metal footsteps in the dark. The hybrids had left a scar on his mind, one that no amount of victory could erase. On Earth, deep beneath a mountain, a hidden facility hummed with activity. Scientists and engineers worked in secret, away from the eyes of the galaxy. There, in a vast underground hangar, something enormous was being built, a warship unlike anything seen before. It was larger, faster, and armed with weapons that could shatter worlds. One night, without warning, a strange energy ripple spread through the galaxy. It was faint at first, like a distant heartbeat, but then it grew stronger, echoing in every communication system, every sensor, every radar. Across alien worlds, technicians froze as a single signal appeared on their screens. A human signature. The Sentinel had returned. But it was not the same. This new version was darker, more advanced, and more alive than ever before. Its hull glowed, faintly with strange patterns, as if the ship itself was breathing. And inside, the hybrids had evolved. They were faster, stronger, and no longer just guardians. They were hunters. Commander Vex watched from the bridge of his ship as the massive silhouette emerged from hyperspace. His voice trembled. "It's back." The Sentinel sent a single message to every corner of the galaxy. "We remember." The sky burned as the warship moved forward, and the galaxy realized the terrifying truth. Humanity had only just begun to show its power.